Hey everyone, happy Tuesday. Welcome to the Achieving Crypto Agility webinar on how to adapt your security for quantum readiness. Thank you for joining us this morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world today. Today we're going to be talking about, just like the title says, achieving crypto agility and what it means to be crypto agile. I'm Arman, Senior Product Marketing Manager at Keyfactor, and I'll be joined by Sven here, Senior Solutions Engineer here, also at Keyfactor. Hey Sven, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, Arman.
Cool. So we'll dive right in. Before we get started, just kind of cover a few housekeeping items. Questions, feel free to ask them in the chat at any time. We'll answer as we go. If we don't get to it, don't worry. We'll answer them at the end, right after the quick demo. We'll also open up some time for some questions then too. So what are we going to cover today? While we're here, we're going to dive into step one, adapting your security for what's to come. We'll talk about industry-wide trends and what we've seen, the common problems we've identified throughout. We'll talk about the Keyfactor approach to becoming crypto agile. And then to cap it off, Sven is going to do a demo at the end, which is really cool, issuing a quantum ready cert. We'll then follow that up with questions, open Q&A. So what's going on? With quantum computing, obviously, as we all know, we keep hearing that around with quantum computing on the horizon. The encryption we rely on today to secure websites, applications, and virtually every digital transaction is past its prime. With outdated algorithms, that leaves us exposed to new risks. And it's not a matter of if, but when. Whether quantum computers pose a real threat today, tomorrow, in 10 years, the consensus is that it's time for a change. However, here at Keyfactor, we continuously say it's not time to panic, but time to prepare. We have the proactive approach rather than a reactive approach, so that when the time comes again, whether that's in tomorrow, 2 years, 5 years, you'll be ready. To achieve crypto agility, the first step is to prepare. And the first step to preparing is gaining visibility, which I'm going to let Sven here kind of walk us through the importance and how-tos of gaining visibility, what that means, and why that's important.
Right. So from the visibility side, it's all about having that inventory of the certificates you have in your environment to be able to start preparing for that migration, being able to prioritize which applications we want to migrate first, which data is the most important possibly that we'd migrate, and knowing what that is. And the best way to do that is using a tool like our command product that can inventory and do the discovery of your certificates in your environment to track that and help you begin the preparation.
Yep. So, we like to highlight that, once you have that visibility, that's step one, kind of identifying what's out there, getting a hold of that, and really getting all of that under control. We run a state of machine identity report every year, which is we survey multiple organizations and companies across every vertical and identify common trends, common pain points and challenges. And when we asked what's the most important feature of certificate management solutions, 62% of organizations said having complete visibility and inventory of all certificates. It's no surprise here, considering 62% of organizations do not know how many keys and certificates they have. So again, really hitting on that preparation and visibility point. To the next step in our approach to being crypto agile is to test. So today's algorithms, will be replaced before we know it. And if we've learned anything, over the previous years, we know when there's a change like that, or when there's any type of change in direction, we know it can be years or even decades to transition. Regardless of when quantum computers can crack today's encryption, the train has left the station, so to say. New algorithms are being tested and government mandates are rolled out. So you can start preparing now by testing these quantum ready certs in your environment so that when the time comes, you're ready to go. Once that, first step of preparing and you can identify what's out there and you have that grasp on your infrastructure, you can manage everything appropriately. You can then begin to start testing these new algorithms and be ready to pull the trigger when needed. We have something from NIST here, which is also in our white paper, which is available on the Keyfactor site under resources. Although NIST will not publish the new post-quantum cryptographic standard for use by commercial products until 2024, they're also strongly recommending organizations start preparing for the transition now. So whatever you can do right now to start kind of getting ready, getting a hold of what's out there and preparing, that's the approach and recommendation given by NIST. I'm going to let Sven talk about this, but onto the once you have preparation and testing boxes checked, you're then ready to transition whenever the time comes. So once you do have that visibility, you have everything under management, and you're testing, you're issuing quantum ready certs for in your testing environment, you're then ready whenever the time comes, whether that's rapidly replacing 100 certs or 1,000,000 certs with new algorithms. You can just have that ready to go with automation. So I'll let Sven kind of dive into that here a little bit on how our automation is important here.
Yeah, so I mean, when you're getting you get your new trust chains out more than likely for that, but there's going to be a lot into that, right? There's going to be devices that could do enrollment protocols, so devices that would support EST, CMP, or ACME, for instance, like those will be quantum ready to be able to re-enroll that way. Whereas SCEPs, that's not going to be quantum. That one we just need to retire that protocol. Then there's also devices that don't support automation or a protocol, right? So then from the command side, we have the orchestrator that could then be able to automate that search. So you could have in your environment the ability to leverage enrollment protocols along with a solution like command to then put certs on devices that are not capable of leveraging a protocol. And then the more fun part is we talked about with the testing and the integration on that side is, will devices be able to cut straight over to post-quantum? Will we need a hybrid cert in there too? Or there's a draft for the chameleon cert right now as well. So there's a lot of stuff that's really in transition today of getting to be able to use these post-quantum certs when that time comes. But it's definitely going to be fun. And like Arman said, the train's left. So we're really going to enjoy the ride.
Yep, definitely. So once that identification process is done, you identify certs out there, what steps are needed to kind of get to this I'm ready to replace?
Having the inventory of the certs is great, but you also need to have the inventory of applications and know what's using those certs, because it's going to be a matter of also working with those app vendors to know when they're going to be able to support post-quantum with the application. So ones that leverage Bouncy Castle, for instance, well, we've got that in there. So if you're leveraging Bouncy Castle, you'd be able to. OpenSSL today, when you go and parse a post-quantum cert with the testoids that we have out there today, it doesn't even recognize that. So once NIST finalizes and the OpenSSL library is updated to recognize those OIDs for processing certs with those algorithms, then we're in good shape. And a lot of devices that would leverage OpenSSL like that can take advantage of it. But all the apps that could do anything proprietary with their crypto and whatnot, or don't use, libraries that are out there already that handle the cryptography side for you, you need to have an idea of what those apps are and how they're leveraging crypto to be able to know when you're going to be able to migrate and transition like that to a post-quantum cert.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and that ties in right here to this next quote again I have from our State of Machine Identity report, from this year is that only 47% of companies have an overall machine identity management strategy that is applied consistently across the enterprise. Is that something you see, Sven, often? That, especially as we're talking about this automation portion and kind of being ready to rip and replace.
Yeah, I mean, from the last, what are we in September now, 9 months, it's really been the bigger companies that have a mature PKI practice in place that are having the discussions with me and other members in my group like that about what these transitions should look like. We've had some great conversations of one of the customers was mentioning, like, let's have a strategy book where we list the type of application that we know the crypto that's in there and just have a step-by-step remediation guide that way it's a rinse and repeatable practice for everyone in their organization to be able to migrate certs for the applications.
Yep.
So there is a lot of planning going in today that people are doing, some organizations more than others. And I think the funny one that I've heard about is some people have been comparing this to the SHA-1 migration where, we all needed to do it right away, but sadly there are still CAs operating that issue SHA-1 certs. But from my perspective, with the push in the US federal government to go to that, I think it's going to be a much quicker turnaround, especially for anybody that wants to do business with the US federal government, that they're going to need to be compliant and have post-quantum algorithms in place by the dates that like NSA set to continue doing business with the federal government.
Cool. Yeah, so hopefully, I think then what sounds like is that number next year in our state of machine identity report next year, that 47 should be going up as people are starting to implement that planning and strategy into their daily practice. Cool. So as we're talking about these kind of three major challenges, of testing, preparation, and automation, how do we solve this and how do we prepare organizations for post-quantum? Well, first, we enable you to gain visibility of your environment. So with Keyfactor, you can assess your PKI and certificate management maturity, which allows you to identify any risks. Next, you can modernize your algorithms by creating a new CA and issuing quantum-ready certificates to test with today. So Sven's going to dive into that into the demo, but as of today, you can start issuing those certs in a testing environment, ensuring you'll be well prepared when the time comes for that. And lastly, implementing automation. So with Keyfactor, with automation in place, you can quickly reissue or renew certificates from a new CA whenever the algorithms are updated, which makes you agile in the way you approach this. So what Keyfactor solutions are quantum ready today? I'll let Sven dive into that here.
Great. So from the command side, that today can process dilithium certs. Bouncy Castle's got the whole smorgasbord of support for cryptography, literally. I mean, and our products are built off of that. So it kind of goes hand in hand. If Bouncy Castle has it, we can do it with the other products. So the one thing David Hook's been working on too is getting the preliminary stuff for the Chameleon certs into Bouncy Castle as well. So that RFC is still in draft today, but that will more than likely turn into an RFC for us and the community to leverage. EGBCA, we've got Dilithium Falcon in there. And then in the fall, a little bit later this month, should be adding support for HSM-backed Dilithium and Falcon with at least the Talus TCT HSMs, because HSMs, we've been testing with those guys pretty actively, and others coming as well. Then Sign Server can already do the post-quantum. That's actually been out longer than EGBCA for customers to go out and try out Sphinx and the Dilithium from that side. And that pretty much covers our suite right there.
Yep. So again, you kind of see them categorized in that identify inventory section. You have that management and testing in the middle, and the transition, test now, transition later approach with the automation towards the end. So I'll let Sven, kind of dive into why Keyfactor is in a unique position here when it comes to being quantum ready, being crypto agile, and how our products fit that.
Yeah. So from our side, we've got Bouncy Castle, which is a crypto library. I mean, that means we're very active in participating in the industry with implementing, draft stuff like that. So when Post Quantum was just coming out, David Hook was already working on implementing that from all the data we have to get that in there. So that's great because then EGBC and Sign Server can begin leveraging that and Command as well. So that naturally goes into getting our products aligned with industry because we're already up on the post-quantum bandwagon. And obviously we need to have those in our products to continue serving customers as, use cases change like this to be able to support that. From the migration side, by having Command in there and EGBC with enrollment protocols, you've got an endless means to migrate. There's no reason you can't, because if you can't speak protocol, then you fall back to Command to do automation that way. So you're covered from every area to be able to get the certificates out there, as well as EGBCA is going to be having support for hybrid certificates too. So, even if you're not doing a clean cutover, we'll be able to do a hybrid cert as well in EGBCA coming in probably Q1 to early Q2 next year. And the other part is with EGBCA right now with 8.0 that was released in June, you can already be out there testing with Dilithium and Falcon with soft keys in there to already have that testing going on and start seeing how things play nicely in the environment or not play so nicely. That's the whole fun of testing, to really see what works and what doesn't work.
True. Awesome. So with that, enough of me talking and some slides. We'll go on to the fun stuff here. Sven's going to dive into a demo now. So over to you, Sven, for the fun stuff. I'll go off video, so this should bounce up to a full screen.
Oh, okay. Let me do that. And then I'll go off video too. All right, so what we've got here is the landing page of Admin Web and EGBCA. So I want to just show quickly to go look at, I've got two CAs with root. We have a Dilithium and a Falcon, so we can go in and see that it is a soft key like that, but we've got a Falcon 512 CA, and we've also got a Dilithium 5 keys with another CA made for that. And with that, in EGBCA, we've created a post-quantum device and user. So we'll go ahead and issue a device, and we can do a Dilithium. We'll do by the CA. We can actually choose the Dilithium. We'll go with the 5 like that to match the other one. And I just grabbed a random name generator over here to copy a name, so I don't even have to think about being creative at that point. We'll paste that in, pull off the white space and put over here. And then we'll give it a username, same thing. Little enrollment code. And then it tells us over here, so we get our DN string, we get the subject DN, CA 3-year, and then we can just download a PEM like that. And it's that simple to, oh, we got a null pointer on that one, to get the certificate. So let's go ahead and do Falcon since the Dilithium was not playing very nicely. Re-put in our name. There we go. So I'll put that like that. And she'll be the second. There we go. So that's as easy as that. And then we could go look at logs and troubleshoot why the Dilithium's not behaving, but we can save that for another day. And that's that easy to go ahead and issue a post-quantum cert through EGBCA.
It's awesome. So from the instance of kind of getting set up, I know a lot of questions we've gotten previously was how quickly can somebody be up and running and testing?
Well, with deploying our Docker container, that's even the community edition out there, and Docker Hub, I mean, you can be up in, 2-3 minutes. You could have a CA carved out in less than 5 minutes of creating the crypto token, cert profile, and making the CA. Let's say another 3 minutes to add a cert profile and an entity profile. So, I mean, under 15 minutes, you could be issuing post quantum certs.
Awesome. Another question here was, how can I manage, or how can I implement automation rather quickly?
Well, I mean, two sides to that. I would either look at leveraging a protocol if you could, and if not, then looking at the orchestrators we have for Keyfactor Command to build an automation integration with your application that doesn't support enrollment protocol.
Awesome. Cool. Well, I think that wraps it up for us. Any questions that we didn't get to, we will follow up directly here afterwards. But this webinar will be available to rewatch again on Bright Talk on demand. However, there's a lot of resources here on keyfactor.com under resources regarding being crypto agile and post quantum. We also have our new PQC lab page on our site, which allows you to kind of dive into all the tools and resources we have regarding post quantum readiness. They're all obligation free, just a place for you to kind of dive into and kick around with. So with that being said, thank you all for joining. We appreciate it, and we look forward to hearing from you all soon. Thank you, Sven.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.